cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. What's up, fellas, and welcome to another True Tuesday episode. Fellas, you know black individuals have significantly shaped the world through groundbreaking inventions, cultural contributions, and movements for social justice. From scientific advancements that save lives to creative arts that inspire generations, black pioneers have continuously broken barriers and redefined possibilities. So today, man, I thought we'd talk about 20 black achievements that we should know. Okay, and 20 black achievements and black influential black figures that we should know. All right, the first, I don't know if I'm going to start with the first one. Yeah, I'm going to just start with the first one. Benjamin Banneker. You guys, I know we've heard of him, but are we familiar with what he's done?
Traffic light?
No. Benjamin, he was a brilliant...
Garrett Morgan.
That was Garrett Morgan.
Yeah, that was Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morrison, yeah.
Not the peanut, no.
No,
Benjamin Banneker.
I
know that.
You know the name from Martin
Wait a
when he
minute,
made
hold
the
on.
Benjamin Banneker clock.
Banneker.
The clock or whatever.
That's a Benjamin. Oh, Benjamin Banneker.
That was the clock.
That was the clock.
That was the clock.
What Martin do with the clock?
He said
cuckoo.
the cuckoo clock that Pam had.
I don't remember
It was
that.
a Benjamin Banneker, but it ended up being fake.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, he was a brilliant astronomer, mathematician, and author who assisted in the designing of Washington, D.C. He was also an advocate against slavery and died in 1806. Second one, Amiri Baraka. I've never heard of this person here. Either of you guys ever heard of him? Amiri Baraka.
Yeah, I have. I want to say I used him in a Black Fact You Can't Take Back, but I don't remember what it was. Was he like a scientist or something?
He's a renowned poet,
Okay.
playwright, and activist who worked for shaped African American literature.
Yeah, I did.
And the Black Arts Movement.
I did cover him. Thank you for reminding that.
Yeah, okay, and he passed away in 2014.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this third person I hadn't heard of, I feel bad because the title, I mean, I'm saying we're talking about 20 black history achievements.
We should know.
That we should know, and so far I've only known one of these guys. This third one, Romare Bearden.
I don't know that one, and I'm usually hip on my black history.
Yeah, Romare Bearden. He was an acclaimed artist known for his vivid collages portraying black life and history. And Bearden died in 1988. It kind of makes me think of the poetry that we see of the photos that we see of like Third Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking he's something on those lines, portraying black life. But
Does it say he's out of New York?
It didn't say where he's from, at least what I'm looking at. And this information is actually according to Black Elites.
Okay.
Okay, the fourth person, we all have heard of this one, Mary McLeod Bethune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, she's an educator and civil rights leader who founded Bethune-Cookman University and advised U.S. presidents. Bethune passed away in 1955. All right, this fifth person, I'm going to spell the first name, Guion, last name Bluford.
Guion.
Yeah, Guion.
That's
Bluford, I'm Mr. Bluford. I don't even want to butcher your first name, but he was the first African American astronaut to travel into space.
That's Guion.
Guion. Appreciate it, Freddie G. Guion Bluford.
G-U-I?
Guion.
Or Gwen? No, Guion. Butcher thing.
Mr. Bluford.
Gone.
Go back to Mr. Bluford.
G. Bluford.
But again, he was the first African American astronaut to travel to space, paving the way for diversity in space exploration. Appreciate you, Mr. Bluford. All right, sixth person, Arna Bontemps. He actually looked like Duke Ellington to me.
What was his accomplishment?
Yeah, what he
Arna, he was a poet and a novelist who was a key figure in the Harlem Renaissance.
That was way back.
Yeah, he died in 1973. Seventh person, Edward W. Brooks.
Sounds familiar, but
Sound
that
familiar.
could be somebody that I know now. Names.
Yeah.
Like, really.
This was the first African American elected to the U.S. Senate, championing
knew
civil
that.
rights and fair housing.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Okay,
I knew that.
I just did something about the first black something.
Yeah,
it's possible.
knew
We,
that,
like I
yeah.
said, we may have discussed some of these pioneers,
you know.
but again, like the first five I've mentioned, well, out of the seven that I mentioned, I've only known two of them. Okay, on the eighth one, Gwendolyn Brooks. I know this name, and it could be again because we have discussed her before. She was the first African American to win a Pulitzer Prize for poetry, capturing black urban life with powerful prose.
Mm-hmm.
She died in 2000.
Urban life.
Number 9, Blanche K. Bruce. Never heard of
Never
him.
heard of him.
Oh, what she might have done.
This was actually a guy.
I wonder if you're gonna call
And I could
anybody.
be saying his name wrong. It's Blanche. I said Blanche.
Damn.
Blanche
That
K.
sound
Bruce.
Sound like Blanche to me.
We go call him Bruce. Mr. Bruce, the first African American to serve a full U.S. Senate term, advocating for equality, and he died in 1898.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, way before our time and our parents. Ralph Bunche, spell the last name Bunche, Bunche, first name Ralph. He was a Nobel Peace Prize winning diplomat who helped mediate in the Middle East and advance civil rights. So I guess he was very beneficial during the Jimmy Carter era.
Yep.
Okay, I know we've heard of this one. George Washington Carver.
Oh yeah, peanut butter man.
Yeah, agricultural scientist known for developing crop rotation techniques that revolutionized farming.
The cotton gin too. That's right.
Okay, number 12, I know we've all heard of this person, and we've also just talked about her, and she's been a black fact. Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first black woman elected to U.S. Congress and the first black major party presidential candidate, meaning she was the first female to run for president. And Shirley Chisholm passed away in 2005. Number 13, Kenneth B. Clark. I've never heard of him.
Sounds familiar.
Sound
but
familiar.
Kenneth B. Clark was a psychologist whose research influenced the landmark Brown versus Board of Education decision. You guys familiar with that?
I knew that. I actually knew that.
You-
I don't know why I ain't said
I know. I'm surprised why. Every time I say you guys know this, I'm looking dead at you, Freddie G.
that. Yeah.
So you are familiar with the Brown versus Education decision?
Yeah, the
Brown
Board
was
of
board, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Number 14, John Henrik Clark.
I know that now. Hold on, John Henry Clark. We talked about him.
I can't remember. I'm gonna be. I
What
don't
he
remember John Henry.
do the tractors, agriculture.
He was a historian who emphasized the importance of African history and global narratives. Okay, I know we've heard of this next person, number 15 slash. I know you should know this one as well. John Coltrane.
Yeah, John Coltrane. But he did have a lot of stuff talking about like the civil movement or whatever, the civil rights movement. I think these were songs and stuff he was doing, right?
Yeah, he was a jazz saxophonist and composer whose music remains a cornerstone of modern jazz. And he died in 1967, but his music, a lot was composed during the civil rights movement. Yeah.
I knew it was something like that.
Okay, this one here we all know, and he's probably known as to all of us as he was like a father figure to all of us. I have to say on TV.
Bill Cosby.
There you go, Bill
Bill
Cosby.
Cosby.
Yeah, he should be in there, although he was wrongfully done. I think
want the pudding pop.
I think they wrongfully done that dude the way they did.
Yeah, comedian and actor known for breaking racial barriers on American television. He did more than break racial barriers after, as it
Sure
later
did.
came out.
He put everybody on. He was the first before Tyler Perry came in. Bill Cosby was the black man for that.
Yeah.
To bring you in on entertainment or whatever. Bill Cosby was the man.
Yeah.
And then they did what they did to him, and then all of a sudden, who comes? Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was doing
Every-
Bill. Yeah, because he had white,
He had
black, he had
cartoons.
everything. He had cartoons. Man,
he
Bill
was doing his
had
stand-up.
stand
Say
up,
he had,
sitcoms.
Yeah.
movies.
Movies. Yeah,
What I think, and the reason why Bill Cosby was important, I think, because during our era of young adulthood, he gave us a vision of being better.
Mm-hmm.
None of us had a doctor and lawyer as a parent,
Right.
Exactly.
But he showed us that
It was very
side.
possible.
That
Because
positivity.
normally,
Yeah.
prior to him having the show that he had, whenever you seen black people on TV, it was normally something negative, and they was also
Until he
always
did
dealing
it.
with poverty.
Right.
Right.
And Bill showed us, like you said, Slash, another
Exactly.
side that this is not all we can do. We're
Right.
capable
Right.
of being doctors. We're capable
Right.
of being lawyers. We're capable of being successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so smooth with it. If you think about the shows, every show was a learning curve.
Well, because he was a positive figure.
Yeah. You learn about pregnancy. You learn about
Everything.
art. You learn about
Music, shit, history, life.
dancing.
Yeah.
Tap dancing, not just tap. There's other
Yeah.
dancing. Man, he taught, and then everybody graduated or went to college in that family. So it was a positive show.
And then the spinoff from the Cosby Show, you had
the Hillman was it
Different World,
Different World,
which introduced a lot of people to HBCUs.
Colleges,
Mhm. Yep,
Got
So-
a lot of young adults interested in going to
going to
college.
college.
Yeah, so Bill was a very instrumental person, I think, in our generation's lives.
There's some black folks think that Hillman College is real.
Right?
They got T-shirts and stuff like
They say
that.
Hillman.
Say Hillman on it.
I've seen
uh-huh.
people wearing
And
it.
people think it's a real college.
I ain't gonna lie. When I saw it, it made me think, "Damn, is it a
Is
real?"
it real?
college? And I had to ask you,
I
but
thought that
it
was-
is
there a
fictional.
Hillman College?
Yeah.
He created some stuff, didn't he, man?
I'm not gonna lie. Watching a different world made me want to go to Hillman.
It sure did. Maybe I did not. I was like, man, I don't want to go. I seen Hillman. I did not want to go to the military because I seen Hillman, but I went to the military, which was just like Hillman,
Without the girls.
without the girls, of course.
But we had our very own Texas Southern, which would have been our Hillman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TSU.
TSU.
Key, who paper you was gonna cheat off of when we went to college?
Yeah.
At TSU, man, I probably would have been like who was
Harry.
that Cube on Higher Learning?
Harry,
I'd have been there forever.
Yeah.
Still learning, huh?
Yeah, still.
They can't get out.
With that pick in your head.
All right, number 17, man, Alexander Cromwell. It's an old school person here. Freddie G.
Not I said
Okay.
today.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Either.
Alexander
Name sound
is the
familiar.
old name. Alexander, anything Alexander.
Alexander.
Cromwell. I said Cromwell. I'm sorry. Alexander Cromwell. He was a minister and an educator who advocated for black self-reliance and Pan-African unity. He passed away in 1898.
Damn. Long time ago.
This is another. I've never heard of this name here. Old school person as well. Yeah, he's old school. Count T. Cullen. Count T. Cullen. Countee. Cullen. I never heard of him. He's
Last name Cullen.
Jazz.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give something jazz. I don't
He's
know.
a prominent Harlem Renaissance poet whose work explored race and love. And he passed away in 1946.
You had a bunch of poets on that list.
Yeah, you got a lot of poets.
It was.
I still haven't heard
You gotta
my
think,
person yet.
Because back then in their days, we didn't have a voice. So
And that was
poetry
the
was
voice.
their voice. And then it ventured over to music.
Where they
Oh,
can express what was really
We
on
can
their
express
mind and
what
what
I was on our mind.
That
So
makes
that's
sense.
why the poets were first.
makes a lot of sense. Benjamin O. Davis Jr.
Don't
It's
know
sad
him.
we don't know this.
We don't know.
I know, and these, according to Black Elite, these are 20 things that we should know. Benjamin was the first African American general in the U.S. Air Force, leading the famed Tuskegee Airmen.
Oh, we need a whooping.
Tuskegee Airmen.
Golly,
I know
we-
somebody whose dad was a part of that Tuskegee Airmen. You do too. We all do.
Ricky Smiley?
Nah, it's somebody that we actually
No, we actually
personally.
know.
Yeah, we know personally.
Really? That's what's up.
Oh.
You know, I'm not gonna say it on here because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
probably not wanting me to mention that. But
Yeah.
we do know somebody that's dad was in that.
Oh my man, that's awesome.
I'll tell you.
You gotta tell me, yeah, tell me after. I
Okay.
still haven't heard my guy yet. Go ahead.
Well, this is the last one, man, and I've never heard of this guy. His name is Martin R. Delaney, and he's another old school, born way before our time, but I've never heard of him. You guys want to take a pick? Got it. All right.
I couldn't come with it.
I couldn't come with it either.
Don't worry about it. He was an abolitionist and the first African American field officer in the U.S. Army, advocating for black nationalism, and he died in 1885.
And let me say this real quick, K-Money. I know you pretty much wrapping up, but here's the thing about why this is crazy. Because why don't we know these facts about these people?
Well, I mean, one reason I wanted to discuss these things is because it's been talked about taking black history out of the schools.
Right.
Now, I do remember when we were in school, we did learn about a little black history, not a lot, but it's a lot more than what's being taught nowadays.
Right.
So I think it's important for us to put out whatever information we can, to keep it known and making folks aware of a lot of things that, like us we've never heard of these things. So I'm sure it's a lot of other people, our listeners out there that hadn't heard of these individuals just like us. So it's important that we just continue to remind them as much as we can, and we trying to use the platform that we have to help educate and just make people aware.
Not saying that the 20 you just named didn't have great accomplishments, but I was looking for Dr. Daniel L. Wilkinson. He was the first black to perform the first successful open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So I was looking for people like him. Marcus Garvey. You did name the Jen. The peanut butter guy,
Carver.
Carver. You did all that, but there was many others that were just missed.
Oh, of course.
It's a whole bunch that
Man,
weren't on the list. But again, this list was generated by Black Elites, which is a website that I got it off of.
Yeah, but
The thing with that list is it shows how important black people were to the community, period. Just on the world on America being foundated.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of blacks involved in foundation of America, and that's some of the stuff that's been hidden. And that's why I'm saying it's amazing we don't know, and the reason why we don't know is because they're not going to teach you this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if we having a hard time finding it out, and I understand what K Money just said, we have to be the ones to teach this, because this information is not going to come from anywhere else, bro, if we don't already know it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So this is important, and black people, y'all need to pay attention.
Comedian 96, you said how it's a whole. You surprised the guy that you had in mind wasn't on the list, and I'm sure all four of us could probably name 20 people that's not on this list that were influential, that made an impact in our lives
And
as
then,
Black Americans.
like Martin Luther King should have been number one.
Yeah.
You would think.
You know why he's not? Because everybody know him.
They
our
know him.
generation,
Right.
that's who we know.
Uh-huh.
He was one of the first that we knew from our generation, Martin Luther King. And then you have other guys like Al Sharpton, Reggie Jackson, these type of people. It's a lot of them. I'm sorry, Reverend Jesse Jackson is what I meant. But you have a lot of people, man, that again, that we know. But then there's so many others. But again, blacks were very important to the foundation of America, man.
Yeah, and I don't think February should be the only time that we discuss, these type of accomplishments or achievements. So, maybe once a month we could do something like this here on our shows, just to, like I say, reiterate and bring awareness to a lot of blacks that we may not have heard of that made a difference.
Do you think they should have a Black History course in high schools, middle schools and high school? Maybe not elementary, but middle school and high school?
And I'm going to say why they shouldn't.
Uh-huh.
Because if you're going to do that, America is a melting pot. You need to have Chinese
Asian,
and all that.
everything. Yeah.
So no,
So what about elective then? As an
can be an
elective.
Elective. There
Yeah.
you go. Elective.
It
It ain't
can
got
be
to
an
Since
be
they got, you know, Spanish and
Yeah.
French as electives,
That's
why
right.
not make
It
it
can be any
Black
elective.
history. Be
diverse.
But
elective.
I don't think it should be something that everybody need to take because everybody don't care.
I shouldn't say everybody need
it's
to
not-
take it. It
it's
should
not
be
so much
offered
as-
like
it's
the
not
elective.
so much as everybody need to take it. History is history. It's just that when history is being taught, they're
can't forget about
they're
that.
redacting Black history, or
Right.
they're excluding Black history. History is history. There's no American history without Black history.
Facts.
That's right.
So history is history. They just need to include it all, or
Under one-
or do it right.
And they
you know what I'm
not.
saying? When
You're
that's
right.
the difference.
They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know how important black people were to the
The
foundation.
history
of
is
America.
history.
Hey, but see, these are reasons, in my opinion, in regards to why we spoke on a previous show last week in regards to reparations. You know, when you hear all the accomplishments that we've made, you know, in this world, yet the way we're being treated as a culture, you know, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. We definitely and we rightfully are, you know, deserving of
yeah.
something. You know, because a lot of our ancestors sacrificed their lives.
Man, them people left us struggling for years and years and years and knew that that's what they was doing.
But man, I appreciate y'all joining us. If you got any topics in mind, please feel free to let us know. We'll be more than happy to talk about whatever it is y'all, you know, ideas you guys have out there. Don't forget to like us, hit that like button, and come back next week to join us. Peace. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Sky Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Sky Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Sky faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.